Have you ever heard the ghostly story of the Gray Man?
Along the coast of Pawleys Island, South Carolina, a ghost that's been named the Gray Man has been seen along the shores for nearly 200 years and warns residents of incoming hurricanes and storms.
Many accredit the Gray Man to saving their lives.
Those who have encountered him say he will tell them to leave the island immediately, a storm is coming. Those wise enough to heed his warning will come back to find their homes untouched by the storms. Encounters with the ghostly apparition date back to 1822. And since then, there have been hundreds of sightings of him all along the Carolina coast. We've even caught the spirit on camera a few times. The Gray Man is appreciated by locals. He's seen as a watchful protector of the island and is here to help, not harm.
We need more ghosts like the Gray Man, right? If you want the full story of the haunting of the Gray Man, check out the most recent Avery After Dark podcast episode just dropped. So interesting, and the stories are so spooky. Available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else that you listen.
So these are 5 things that you should not do if you hear La Llorona. And quick little side note, I saw a lot of comments on here of people saying that she only shows up in Central America or South America. That is not the case. One of the experiences that I share on here actually happened to my mom's friend who lives about 10 minutes from where I live. Side note, I live in Pennsylvania. She's not very far from me. So number 1, don't ever, and I mean ever, look out the window if you hear her crying out there. If you hear any woman crying out there, do not look out the window. Make sure you make yourself as invisible as possible. 2, if there's a TV on in the room, a lamp, anything causing light, anything causing attention, shut it down. Shut it down. Again, make yourself as invisible as possible. Number 3, pray. Pray as hard as you possibly can. Every prayer that you know, pray it. But do it quietly. Make sure she doesn't hear you. Don't draw attention. Now number 4, if you hear La Llorona and she sounds like she's really, really far, it means that she's actually right outside your house. If you hear her and she sounds really close, it means that she is far. One little side thing, trust your dog's instincts. If your dog starts randomly howling and acting crazy, they are very, very good at picking up paranormal activity. They know that something very, very bad is coming. And number 5, make sure your doors are locked. The story that I shared that happened to my mom's friend, she was stuck in her garage when she heard her outside walking right by her garage. She had her light on, she was sewing, she used to sew clothes for a living. She somehow gathered the courage to get up and lock her door. And what did the Llorona do right after she locked her door? She was moving her handle trying to open her door. So make sure your doors are locked.
What are some of the craziest things people have confessed to at the end of their lives? In this series, I'm sharing some of the craziest ones I found. And I cover all sorts of spooky and true crime stuff, so follow along. So in 2004, Geraldine Kelly was dying of cancer. Her daughter was there by her side, but this was particularly hard on her daughter, because her father, Geraldine's husband, had passed away in a motor vehicle accident years prior. Or at least that's what Geraldine had told everyone. A few days before Geraldine passed away, she tells her daughter that she lied about how her husband died. He didn't die in an accident. Geraldine had killed him. And not only that, but she was keeping his body in a freezer in a storage unit. So her daughter calls the police right away, and sure enough, he's in an unplugged freezer that was taped shut. Geraldine claimed that she had been a victim of abuse, but she passed away a few days later along with any information she had on this case.
I went out in the woods and I captured something strange in the sky, so check this out. So I'm walking, so that's me, just filming some B-roll footage for my YouTube, and up here you'll start to see an object up here. It's a really bright object. You'll see it right there. Yep, right there. Just flowing down, down, down. Didn't make any noise. I didn't notice this at the time. And behind this tree, it just disappears. It didn't look like an airplane. Didn't look like a drone. I'm not sure what this is. Really creepy. What do you think?
When I was 19, I used to work night shift, which always made me paranoid. I would always take different to and from work routes just in case. One night, as I'm headed to work, I look over and I see what looks like death standing in the middle of a field. He looked like your stereotypical Grim Reaper, just standing there holding on to his scythe. He eerily just stood there and watched as I drove by. This completely freaked me out, and when I got to work, I called my best friend and let him know about what just happened, just in case something were to happen to me. Work went on like usual, and I tried to forget about it. A couple days later, I'm driving home when I happened to get into a head-on collision that temporarily unalived me. A week later, I woke up after being in a coma and with a lot of damage. My best friend asked, "What route did you take home that day?" I lost it when I told him that the route I took was the route I had initially seen the Grim Reaper on.
This is the evil, cold case of Dalia Dippolito. In 2009, Dalia Dippolito, the ex-wife of Michael Dippolito, plotted a murder on her husband.
Dalia Dippolito is speaking out for the first time in 6 years. She is awaiting a new trial.
She hired an undercover hitman to kill her husband at home and make it seem like it was a home invasion. Little did she know the hitman was an FBI informant.
I was a little shocked because I didn't think she was going to be that open.
Dalia never backs off.
The police were listening to the live conversation she had in the car with the hitman.
There's no changing, no, there's no, like, determinant already. I'm positive, like, 5,000% sure.
After the whole plot, the police visited Michael when he was home.
Your wife has hired a person to kill you. Just relax. Take it easy. Take a deep breath.
Better sit down.
The guy was totally in shock that this was going on.
I was very surprised. I was like, because then it hit me like, this is a mess.
The police now set up a fake murder scene and called Dalia.
We're at your residence, ma'am. Can you come right back to your residence, please?
She's back in a flash, and now watch carefully. You be the judge of what happens next.
Is your husband Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am, he's been killed. He's been killed, ma'am. Try to calm down.
When they took Dalia to the police station for interrogation, Dalia got her biggest surprise.
Police have another surprise for Dalia Dippolito.
Here, please, come here. Mike, come here.
She sees her husband, and he's alive.
The show Cops captures this moment as well.
Come here, please, come here. Why not? I didn't do anything to him. Mike, come here, please.
What? You're alive? I love that moment, and I'm sure a jury will too.
You're going to jail today for solicitation of murder. You're under arrest.
I didn't do anything.
Did you hear what I just told you?
She was found guilty for solicitation to commit murder. However, in 2015, she was sentenced to house arrest. During her interviews, she was always in denial and lied. Her and her attorneys stated that this was a setup for a reality TV show.
5,000% sure.
The tape was a show, it was a tape. That was the purpose of it.
You were acting in those tapes.
Yes.
But you're telling the truth now.
Yes.
Why should we believe you?
Because it's what happened. It's the truth.
That's such a... that's my reaction. I'm laughing. I am 5,000% sure she tried to kill me.
But the story does not end here. After several trials within these 2 years, in 2017, Dalia was sentenced to 16 years in Florida prison for solicitation to commit murder. I can't believe that you would come up with a lie like that to deny the crime that you have committed. You deserve to rot in prison.
This is proof that we aren't alone. Okay, so we all heard of the giant snake called Titanoboa, and we all understand how scary it actually is. But what if I told you Titanoboa is back and somebody has a video of it? This man was flying a helicopter over Central Africa when he suddenly captured a 50-foot long snake on camera. This is absolutely terrifying. Somebody might be living on Mars. This picture right here is posted on NASA's website, revealing that there could be a lot more things hiding on Mars than we ever could have thought. You see, this photo revealed a strange man-made looking doorway on a completely different planet. And what's even crazier is that the Mars rover went over this area multiple times and never ever picked up this door, Many believe that this was a base created by humans when we still lived on Mars, before a nuclear war devastated the planet, while others actually believe there is an advanced alien civilization living on Mars, more specifically within the surface. Even though both theories are extremely different, we can all agree on that something is living on Mars.